Negan.
I am Negan.
What's up, people? We are back. Man, that felt kind of lengthy. That was some amount of time from Fear the Walking Dead to here we are. Walking Dead is back. Mothership, right? Season 11, episode 9. No Other Way. My name is Adam Vale. I'm an editor over at the Koalition. I am joined by Rich Bailey Jr., editor-in-chief from the Koalition. What's up, Rich?
What's up, Adam? What's up, listeners and viewers?
And Throwdown's own Carlos Romero. What's up, man?
Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, everyone?
Man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. This whole process, this whole thing, just to jump back into it, because even not just Walking Dead in general, because we were talking about Fear for a while and the nuke and all the craziness that was happening. Yeah, but then for Walking Dead to come back and then to see where they're at, it was like, oh yeah, that was what was happening. They were getting shot at by like rockets, and when we sort of see in this episode, it sort of looks like fireworks, right? Like rockets attacks of fireworks. It was kind of interesting, the little setup that they had there with their weapons. But thanks again for everybody that still stays subscribed. I always find that funny. We don't get much of a drop off because it's a break, and some people may forget and be like, oh, I guess the show's not around anymore, and they just unfollow or whatever, but they don't. You know, that's a cool thing. I guess everybody at this point knows and has seen in the description. And it's like, hey, we cover all the Walking Deads, and they're currently on a break. And when they come back, then we come back. There you go. So thanks again for joining us over on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and of course, thecoalition.com. I think we also have an interview with some of the cast members, right? Dana Abercrombie, didn't she do an interview with some of them, or she's going to? Yep.
Yeah, I believe, she did conduct the interview, so we'll probably have, you can look forward to that content in the future.
Yeah, there you go. So keep an eye out over at the Koalition. So again, real quick, just so you know, if you're not familiar, we are going to discuss and spoil, if you haven't watched, this current episode 9 from season 11, No Other Way. So if you have not watched it, you can go to AMC Plus and watch it, or you can wait till Sunday and then watch it on AMC. So there you go. You've been warned. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. I enjoyed this episode. A lot of action right off the bat. A lot of action. And it makes sense because the mid-season break left off, like usual, a cliffhanger, right? We had Judith and Gracie. They were in the basement that was getting flooded, and we got some walkers that were in there. And then we had Daryl and Maggie and Negan and the crew. They were over there fighting Leah's people over at that compound. So there was a lot already going on. And I was looking forward to it. At first, I was a little nervous that maybe they were going to just focus on the Commonwealth and drag this out, maybe like 2 or 3 episodes before getting into the action, that type of thing. But they didn't. They went straight for it. So before I go into it, real quick, what did you guys think when it just started within the first 5 minutes?
Well, I will state my overall thoughts on the episode. I thought it was really, really good. I think this is one of the best episodes I've seen in a while. But I do have a complaint.
All right. Well, now
this episode would have served better as the mid. I don't know what they're called, but the like part of the finale of the quarter season or of the tri season.
Yeah, because there's 3 parts to this for people who don't know. It's not just you. I'm sure someone's like, it's a mid-season. I was like, well, they have 2 more. 1 more. So there's 3 of them. 3.
Well, of the first mid-season, I don't know. It's weird. First of the tri-season finale, because I feel that cliffhanger wasn't, it was kind of, I think the cliffhanger on this episode was better than the cliffhanger on the last episode from last year. Mm-hmm. So, they're shooting the arrows and the rockets going in, and, are they going to survive or not? Well, we already knew they were going to survive. But I think the better cliffhanger was the one that we got this episode, which is like, oh, shit, things are moving. You know, like we'll talk about that later. But you know, things are moving now. But yeah, overall, I felt like this was a really good episode. You know, Maggie was ruthless.
Oh man.
Daryl was pouting.
It was weird. It was definitely a different approach with the whole Daryl. And you know what? We'll just start off. So for those who don't remember, well, I sort of brought it up where they were. They're over at the compound with Leah's people. They're fighting with them. She let Daryl run off, but at the same time, she's told her people to hunt everybody down. And of course, outside of the barrier, the walled area, there were a bunch of walkers, and that's where Negan and Elijah and Maggie, that's where they were. So there's a lot of combat that goes on back and forth. We get some cool deaths, of course, from a walker death. That one rocket that just shot in the walker's chest. That was kind of cool because you see it exploding and he's like screaming at the same time. Like, I just started cracking up. I don't know why. Even now thinking about it, that shit is funny. But yeah, there was a lot happening, but like you said, we knew these guys were not gonna. Maybe Elijah, you know, we could put him on there, but definitely Negan was gonna survive this. Maggie was gonna survive this. Of course, Daryl. Come on now. So we see some
and Father Gabriel
Well, yeah, I wanted to leave him for last because they sort of. Well, we'll get to it because the way they were positioning him in the episode, it was almost like. He's there, but then he's not there. Is he going to make it in time? Maybe he's not. You know what I mean? It was that whole build-up.
He's turning into one of my favorite characters.
Oh, yeah. He's Killer Priest. Bring it back from Wu-Tang. Yeah. He's a real... I was hoping he would say that when they were like, what's my name? But we'll get to that. That was one of my favorite scenes also. Where I was like, who is this? You know? I was like, come on, say Killer Priest. And then just do another shot. That would have been dope. But, yeah, so... a lot of cool fight scenes. We see Maggie get into a brawl with one of these guys. She gets into the main brawl with Carter. He's fighting off Negan and Maggie. That was a pretty cool fight scene. There was another one where Daryl was fighting one of the other guys, and he could have killed him, but he decided not to. He's trying to be nice, and eventually when he because they were in different parts of the compound, when he reunites with Maggie and Negan and they're beat up and they're with the Carter guy that they just beat up, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna kill this dude. She's like, no, I got a plan and we're not gonna do that. And he gets on the walkie, and like you said, Rich, it's like now he's trying to play next. We're gonna work things out. We got a plan. I'm like, wait, this is not the Daryl that we know. And the first thing that I'm thinking in my head is it's because of Leah. It's that relationship. It's definitely that relationship. Because if this was any other group, we're killing you all, and we're killing your boy right now. You know what I mean? Like he would be ruthless, but he didn't do that. That's not it. And he wanted to work out a deal. You know. So right there, right off the bat, before I go any further, what did you think of that? The action, the setup, and then seeing Daryl just sort of flip the script and go in a new direction, being the calm and collected one.
Well, I agree that this is definitely one of the better episodes in quite a while. I agree with pretty much everything that Carlos said about the point that this would have been better as a finale for, coming into this year, because at the very end, we'll get into that later. I just think that was a better ending, a better cliffhanger to leave you wondering what happened. And then they could have spent the first episode of this year going into that story, which is what we're going to get next week. So yeah. I agree. But to answer your question, I did not understand Daryl at all in this episode because, obviously, yes, he still has feelings for Leah, and you understand that he wanted to try and save her and stuff like this. But I knew the rest of the people on that team, they're not going to look at this the same way. If they had an opportunity to kill Daryl and everybody else, they would. So
but remember, last season we really thought, especially with the fire test, where they were in the house and it was set on fire and they had to figure out a way to escape. We figured, oh well, she's gonna leave Pope. Leah's gonna realize that Pope doesn't care about her and that she should be with Daryl. But that didn't turn out to be the case, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. And she's essentially now the leader of the group. So, again, I understand that Daryl still has feelings for her. He did not want her to get hurt, but I did not trust any of the people on her team. Uh-huh. So I was glad to see Maggie be the one to step up and actually do what needed to be done. And so definitely the badass of the episode, which is appropriately why she is the featured image of this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's it. This is the Maggie that I was hoping to see from the way they were portraying her through the dialogue, but we didn't visually see it. Like, she came back with her crew we saw last season, and she was like, all right, we got to go get supplies, we got to go do this, got to do that, and I've seen some things, I've been involved in some things. Okay, that's all hearsay. We didn't really see anything, though. Now we have. Now she's proving it. She's gone full Negan. You know, that's the way I saw it in this one, because this is definitely, and we'll get to that point. But man, that was just overall, that opening scene with all the fighting stuff, really cool. You know, and usually how we do these episodes is we'll cover one tier of the episode to one faction, and then we'll cover the other. So once we get to a certain point, I guess once we get to, we'll just talk this whole point, and then we'll do the quick with what happened with Grace and Judith and everybody at the main location, because not a lot actually happened there. I'm pretty sure everybody assumed correct that Judith is not going to die with Gracie in the basement by some walkers. That was just not going to happen. They weren't going to drown, and they definitely weren't going to get bit by a walker. That's not happening. But anyway, so then we see that they're going through this, but at the same time, Father Gabriel, right, well, I guess we can just call him Gabriel, but we see that he was on his own little adventure somewhere within that area, and he finds the priest. And people recall that was the one that was over near the lake that was praying, and he could have shot him, and he chose not to because he said, oh, this is a man who was praying, and the whole thing. But that guy starts rambling off some nonsense about how it was put here for a reason. He justifies all this, blah, 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 blah. And Gabriel didn't want to hear any of it, and he just stabbed him. He was like, I'm done with it, and just put him down. And there you go, like you said, Rich. This is a different Gabriel. Like, this is just Gabriel. This is not Father Gabriel. This is just a man who's just had enough. He's seen it. He's done it. He's tried both sides of the fence. He's tried being the I'm gonna stand back and just watch from a distance. Then I'm gonna be the righteous one, and I'm gonna preach and try to come back. To now he's just like, I put him in the same category of how we've seen the progression and how Morgan has evolved. Because remember, Morgan was on that same thing where he didn't know what he was going to do. He was a little loopy because of his family. Then he meets that one guy in the cabin who teaches him how to use the staff and gives him discipline. And he just changed it. He was like, I use it for protection. I'm not killing people. I use it against walkers. He refused for 2 seasons or so to not kill anybody until he just said, I'll forget it. And there you go, right to the throat. But so what do you guys think of Gabriel with that whole scene with the priest? Carlos?
Yeah, he's turning into a brawling dude now. Like he doesn't care anymore about his old ways. That's what I like about his character. Like, if you remember at the beginning, he was just like this scaredy dude at the top of something trying to fight off walkers.
Oh yeah, remember he closed off the church when they first met him. He knew. He said, and he felt guilty for it because everyone was turning, and it was his congregation that was returning to the church for help, and he just closed it off. He left them out there.
Now he's gone through some shit. He's lost an eye. He's got a Spanish chick and
a baby.
And a baby. And look where he is now.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah,
I like the way his character's going. It's a progression, and I feel like some of the characters, when we lose characters, like a Rick, like a Shane, like several other characters, like it's always important for the ones that we've had to step up.
Oh yeah,
and we've had a lot of people step up.
He was still wearing a collar though, right? Pretty sure I still saw him.
Yeah, he's still wearing the priest collar.
That should be his getup with some blood on the collar, just like dripping down, and that's it. Make a great figure right there, just like him in the getup and with the one wide eye and some blood on the collar and some blood dripping down his jacket. Like I'm not just a regular, I'm killer priest. So then they decide to meet up. She's like, all right, we're gonna parlay. Let's do this. And Maggie doesn't trust her. Maggie doesn't, and he's like, no, this is gonna work. This is gonna work again. It's an emotional thing. It has to be. It has to be because this is not the Daryl we know. Daryl we know from previous seasons would not even bother with this. He would just start taking all of them out with his crossbow. But no, so they tie up Carter. They bring him over to an open area, and they try to work out a deal. It was like, listen, your people are our people. Let's just go our separate ways. It didn't have to go down this way, and the whole thing. And we see Elijah. He's there, and he's on crutches. He's hurt. And they're like, all right, fine, let him go. And so they let Carter go, and he blows a kiss at Maggie. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's because they were like, oh yeah, we got this all secure, and we don't know at this point, but they had a sniper, you know. Mm-hmm. And then the sniper takes a shot. And wait, I'm blanking right now. He shot some. Who did he shoot?
He shot the ground. He shot the ground as a warning shot.
That's it. That's right. He didn't shoot anyone. I'm in my mind, and when I note, I missed the spot because remember Elijah was already hurt prior to that, because then Elijah was upset that Carter was going, and this whole thing going on, and then he walks forward, and she was like, "Tell him stay back, or he's gonna get shot. Tell him stay back," and then he falls, and it was pretty sad. So now they make it seem like now. I'll leave up to you guys to figure this out, what you think. I'm not sure if Leah's intent was to kill them all there in that little courtyard. Like, do you think that was her idea, her plan? Because it was her. She had the two goons, which I guess are the last surviving members, and Carter and the sniper. Right? So that's the crew. There's no one else left. So I don't know if her plan was to, okay, Carter's going to come back. We're not letting any of these people leave. We're just going to kill them all. Do you think that was the plan?
Yeah, I felt like she was going to kill them.
You do feel that? Okay. Because I wasn't sure. I was like, because it didn't really happen. She did the warning shot. I think that's why I'm on the fence with that. Because
she did the warning shot because she wanted to separate Maggie from the guy.
Yeah, from Carter. But that's what I'm saying. She could have easily just shot. You know, we told him like take the shot. And poof, and then killed. Next.
Yeah, but he's still. I mean, Daryl's still there. Maggie, you know, maybe he hits Maggie and the dude. Like, my understanding of it is, you know, they wanted to separate them just to, you know, so they can be, you know, out. So the guy can be out of the way, and then, you know, the sniper will take all of them out. Maybe she'd save Daryl, but I feel for the other ones that she would definitely take them out.
Well, I know the one I would say not person, but there would have been one survivor, and that's Dog, because Dog was not in this scene at all. But we know Dog is in the area.
Is Dog does Dog charge by the second? Because
yeah,
his cameos are getting slimmer and slimmer.
Yeah, and when he does pop up, it makes no sense. It's like, wait, where were you before? You were, I don't know, I don't get it. He was definitely there. So anyway, it gets to that point where Elijah falls, and Carter then decides, oh, I'm just going to walk over and kick him. You know, and then as he's walking over about to kick him, he gets shot in the leg. And she's screaming, Leah's on the walkie, what's going on? What are you doing? And he's like, and he says, it's Gabriel. And I was like, man, this would have been great. It's Killer Priest. You know, it's like, man. But no, he says it's Gabriel, and you see everybody, especially Daryl, gets a little smirk on his face. He's like, oh, wow. So then there he went. He took out that dude up in the tower, and now he has a sniper rifle. So the roles are reversed, and Daryl says, listen, I'll let you guys go. You probably wouldn't have done the same for us, but I'm doing it. Just get out of here. Let's just go our separate ways. You save your people, I save my people, and we're done. And she was like, all right, fine. And put your weapons down. They put their weapons down, and it looks like the three are going off. But then Elijah, Elijah, he's lost a lot. His sister, we saw in the last before the break, she turned into a walker. All those people that they freed out of that barn, those are all the people that were part of their community. And he just keeps saying for her and for everyone there, and he's just really emotional with the whole thing. And it's like, you can't let them go. So Maggie picks up a gun, and she just right behind him, boom, boom. She shoots both of the other dudes in the back, and it takes one.
How?
Boom, boom. Because that's what it looked like. It was like one shots.
Yeah.
That was the thing. It wasn't like multiple. It's like boom, one for your back, boom, one for your back, and then another one for Leah, but hit her in the shoulder, and she goes running off. And then Winter was like, "This is now supposed to go down. What are you doing?" And she sees one of the guys still squirming, and then puts one in his chest.
Well, I feel like Daryl knew that they were down in the basement when they were searching for them or whatever that thing was, and Daryl knew that they knew that he was there, so he intently had a discussion with Leah to sort of humanize her to the other people that were kind of peeping around. So I think he's just confused because they know that he knows them way better than they do, and when they don't go with how he thinks they should go, then that's when he got upset or just shocked about the whole situation.
Yeah. But again, that's part of the backstory that we don't know. I mean, we saw from the barn and all the walkers, and we know her community, that these people they devastated. The Reapers did all this horrible things to her group, and especially to Elijah's family. And that's what triggers this. Like, she's not going to let them walk away like this. She just can't forgive that. And I can relate to that. I can get it. I think I would have probably done the same thing. Daryl wasn't part of that community. Maybe if he had lost someone close to him, maybe if it was his brother, if his brother didn't already turn to the dark side early on, let's say if his brother was just part of the group and this happened, I'm sure Daryl would have done the same thing. So then she approaches Carter, who's on the ground, and she picks up, what is it, like a hatchet or the axe or whatever?
Like a mini scythe kind of thing.
Holy crap. And right there to the chest. And that was a great scene. It's like this low, wide shot, and you can see her bent over, like tired, and you see that he's like groveling, like, and it's stuck in his chest. It was awesome. Beautiful scene. Set that as my wallpaper.
She's had bloodlust for a while now, and she's sort of her bloodlust sort of went towards Negan for most of the season.
Oh yeah.
And when she had the opportunity to do anything, she went ham.
Oh yeah, she went all out, and they even show a few shots of Negan's face, and he looks shocked because he's like, I think two things probably popped up in his head. It's like, one, she's legit. Her anger isn't just toward me, it's toward the world. She's really mad about everything. And she's willing to inflict pain and carnage on anyone that gets in her way. And the other side is like, this is more like him. Like, they could definitely, if they were on the same page, I think emotionally and mentally right now, they're definitely on the same page. But
Negan did the New York head nod. Equivalent to Maggie, because Maggie antagonized him for doing what he did to them when they fucked around with Negan's crew, and she's essentially Negan. She's Negan, how Negan was back in the day when she took out Lucille and took out her husband.
That was it. So Father Gabriel comes down. They have a little powwow about the next plan, and this is where Maggie says, well, I'll have something to do. I'll be back. And I don't know why she decides to keep it secret, but we know where she's going. She's going to go see if Eldon is okay. Because remember, he was hurt. They couldn't bring him along, so they left him. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I had no doubt in my mind that he was going to turn. That she was going to return and he was turned. There's no way. It would make I did not
Absolutely.
think. Yeah, I mean... And sure enough, there's a walker that was already in there. How did that walker get in there? Since the door was already barricaded? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Through this chimney? I don't know. But, there's a walker. She puts him down. And then, sure enough, Eldon's there. And she has to put him down. And she gets real emotional. She starts crying. And that part sort of threw me off. Because, yes, he has been part of the show since the Hilltop. Since they discovered the Hilltop and all that stuff going on. He's been loyal and... He's been along her side through the whole time. But I never really saw him like an Aaron. Like, I never put him in that, like, oh, well, you're a strong supporting character here. You're not a main character. You're a strong supporting character. And I sort of feel that if you pass, it would make a big impact to the story. I never got that feeling from him. So when she breaks down crying, in my mind, I was like, well... either there was something more going on that we can just try to fill in the blanks. Maybe there wasn't a relationship, not romantic or anything, but something a deeper connection at the end. Or maybe she's just crying because of just it's hitting her now that she just murdered all these people and look who she's turned into.
Oh no. I didn't get that at all. For me, It's more Maggie was essentially in charge of these people, and she let them die, or she feels responsible for their deaths. Because I mean, when they came back to what's the place called now?
Alexandria. When they
came back to Alexandria, it's like where's everyone else?
Yeah. I mean,
they've lost a lot of people.
There was a lot of people that lost. Yeah, you got with the grenades and in the tunnel, but they were fools anyway. Remember, they were stealing the supplies that were going to run off and stuff. Yeah, there was quite a few people that they lost on this trip, but they got a bunch of good apples, right? You saw that? There was like a whole basket full of yummy apples. But anyway, so while she's there in that area, we see that Negan shows up. So he knew where she was going, or maybe he followed her. And this is where he gets into a deep conversation. He's like, I saw a different side of you, and I saw this and that, and I saw that you're willing to do what you got to do, and I don't want to wait around until it's my turn. And slowly, while he's talking, you could see it from the camera angle. She's moving her right hand, like grabbing her weapon, like, oh, shit. But, of course, I didn't think he was going to try to shoot her and put her down there, because he knew that wouldn't have worked. Then what? Then how do you explain that? Oh, I went to go help her, and I found a bullet in her head. Whoops. No. He says, you know what? I'm going on my way. I'm just going to go do my own thing. I'm getting out of here. So, you can keep going on with your people, but I'm out. And he leaves, and there goes that. And she's relieved, because I think she felt, oh, wow, this is it. He's going to put me down now here. So what did you think of that? His exit. Do you think it's a permanent exit? Or, meaning we're not going to see him throughout this entire portion of this season until the final few episodes after the next break? Or do you think this is something that maybe it'd just be a one-off? We'll see him next episode. Rich?
That's a very good question. You said that you know what happens to him in the comics, and he does disappear for a period of time.
Yeah. I mean, I can bring it up, and people are like, oh, look, there's no spoiler here, because in the comic, when they do connect.
Maybe people haven't read the comics and read it later.
There you go. Okay. Man, see, now you make me wonder.
So
maybe I won't say anything. Right.
Well, let me say this then. Obviously, I believe he will return. If they don't have him at all this particular half of the season, that's fine. But I just want to say this: I don't want him to see him return at a moment when everybody needs to be saved, because I think that's been used a lot, where you see a character disappear and then all of a sudden they get saved at the end by another character you haven't seen in a while. So hopefully that's not the cliche approach they will take when he makes a return. But I also like your idea, Adam, that we spoke about. Whereas if they were to have a spinoff show, it could be about what happens with Negan when he's on his own.
And I'm going to keep leaning on that as we get closer to the end of this episode, because I'm really starting to think that's where we're going to go, down that path. But she goes back. Well, go ahead.
Real quick, I don't think we'll see him again this season. You don't get Negan. Not for the whole season. Like, cut him off in the first episode if it's not even a death. We'll get him again later this season. I'm not too positive that it'll be the next episode, but we'll see him again, and it's just going to be how he's going to cross paths again with the group. They even did it with Judith and them asking for Negan, and they were kind of upset. I mean, and you got to remember, you can't hold a Negan card at the tail end of the season, because that's when you're going to save it for Michonne and Rick. And Carl, he's going to come back from the dead.
Right?
He's going to come back from contract time.
I don't know why. I believe it or not, I feel like well, it's too late now. He's dead, but I could see him popping up as like a ghost or a memory to Judith. I could see that making an appearance that way, sort of like the way they've done. We've seen in Dexter, the way the sister pops up in the head. Maybe something happens. I doubt it. I really doubt it. But anything can go when a series is on its way out. We've seen this in other shows where it's like, what? How does that fit? It doesn't matter. They're just doing a little fan service for everyone to say goodbye, and then that could be the closure between Judith and Carl, that type of thing. But who knows? So anyway, Maggie gets back to the group. Gabriel is like, what happened to Aiden, Eldon? It's like, oh no, it's not happening. It's it is what it is, and they get it. What about Negan? And he took off, and there goes that. It's like, all right, now what do we do? And then we find out that Daryl went out there to go find Leah. And he figures he knows where she's at. He says, listen, it didn't have to go down this way, but it did. Just go do your thing. Goodbye. And she's hurt, but that's it. He lets her live. He could have kept looking and put her down, but he didn't. He still has something for her. And I have a feeling we haven't seen the end of Leah's story. So she'll probably pop up.
Not the first time we've said that.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole crew is dead. Her whole crew. The Reapers are gone. And that's what we were wondering of how the Reapers and the Commonwealth, how they're going to do the balancing act. Well, they just cleared them out in episode 9 here. That's it. It's done. It's just Leah. She didn't even have her dog. She's just alone out there with a bullet in her shoulder. Hopefully it came out the other end.
Not only that, but Daryl lost Leah, but he gained someone else.
Oh yes, Connie. Yeah, we'll get back
Connie's
to that.
Back.
We'll get back to might as well right now. So before we do that, now this is a good spot to jump to the other part of the story where they left off with Judith and Grace. They actually called her Gracie. I thought it was just Grace, but then some of the other characters were calling her Gracie.
No, Aaron always said Gracie.
He always said Gracie? All right. So there you go. So they're down there, and Judith's doing her thing. She's trying to fight off the walkers. Everyone else is trying to figure out where they are, what's going on. Aaron is across the way. They cleared one of the breaches, but they feel there's more breaches. Trying to figure out. Carol is trying to figure it out. It's all due to this storm. I really thought there was a more that we're going to show some kind of backstory. Maybe someone from the Reapers group that went solo, like we saw earlier last season with the sniper who just went on his own to go hunt them down. I thought it was going to be something like that. But
apparently he was the only badass of the crew.
Yeah, he was the only one that was willing to do that, because that was not the case here. This breach was just a natural breach of the storm hitting something, maybe a tree banged into their wall and tore it down, and that's it. There was no real malicious activity going on outside of just natural causes. So they're trying to figure all the other breaches out, and Aaron heads back toward the house just in time because the water's rising in the basement, and he hears the screams from the window, and there's walkers in there. So the only way to get him out, he smashes the glass, he goes in there, he lifts them out, but now he's trapped in there. And it's a cool scene because you see some of them, you see some walkers, but then you see other ones just slowly rising out of the water, like. And I was like, all right,
this is where I interject.
Go for it.
The Walking Dead is a show about zombies. There's certain disbelief to take into account whenever you watch this show. You have to suspend this this whole reality stuff. There's no way I can suspend Aaron going from where he was into hanging around in a fucking pipe at the fucking roof of the thing with an arm and a fucking battle axe or whatever that thing is.
Yes. Yeah. And let me also interject here with Carlos and say, I agree 100% with everything you said, because I expected, there's a lot of tension, so I give him credit, but there's no way that he could have survived that. I was expecting, especially because think about it, if the walkers go underwater and are still, coming towards him, they could have easily bit his leg or something. So for him to get out of that unscathed with no bites, nothing, I think that definitely
that is part upset me after, because just like you guys, I was like, oh, this is it, we're gonna lose him. Like I understand the whole the Eldon thing should have been impactful for the loss of the group in this episode. It didn't do it for me, but Aaron definitely would have done it for me.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen, and they didn't even bring it up. He didn't even mention, "Oh, I had a big brawl," or nothing. I mean, show us a clip of him fighting. We don't see any of that.
And you see, and the problem with that is because it would have been a powerful moment because he died saving his daughter.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that would have been great, but we didn't get that.
I mean, thankfully he didn't die, but yeah, it would have been cool to see how he got out of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what we see. We just see that he's there with everybody, or they're all cleaned up. You know, Jerry's there, everybody's there. Like, oh yeah, you know, we're cool, everything is fine. And that's when they make an announcement. It's like, oh wait, we see Daryl and all of them show up, and they have food, and they're like, oh, where's everybody else? That was where that comment where Jerry was like, oh, there's a bunch of people missing. What happened? Well, you know what happened, Jerry. Come on now. This is Walking Dead. You lose people all the time. Things have gone south. But the one thing that sort of threw me off is when Daryl sees Connie. Now remember, he was holding a basket full of apples, giving them out to the kids. He was like, all right, only take one, and he sees her, and he drops the basket and runs over to her. But he just gives her a hug and says in sign language how he missed her and all that stuff. I was expecting more of an embrace, like a kiss or something. Like at some point, his true feelings for her has to come out, and this would have been that moment.
You should have said, "Thank God I can use sign language this again. I just spent all this time learning it. Exactly. You're the only person I could ever do it with."
Right. Well, then their sister, but I don't think anyone. Did he do that? Yeah, he started to talk to her, but she didn't need it. I think she could talk. So, but yeah, you're right. You're right. But did you think there was going to be anything else besides that? I was expecting a little more out of that. Out of when they reunited, I thought.
I definitely expected more, but I guess so much time has passed. Maybe because again, he was interested in Leah. Is a lot of time passed in between that, so maybe he hasn't really gotten over that fully yet, and he hasn't really thought about her in that way yet. But we'll have to see where they go with that.
Because I mean, Leah was way back, and then comes Connie, and then then he saw Leah again, but they didn't do anything. I think besides a kiss, I don't think they even did that. I don't remember. But they definitely didn't do they didn't go any further than that. At least not that they showed. So it's not like they rekindled that flame in some way.
Yeah.
Not like some other episodes of other characters. But yeah, so I was really surprised. And then the camera even pans over to Carol to see her reaction. And she's just got that generic smile. Like, I'm cool with this. I was like, okay, whatever. And
by the way, did they make up?
Because
they embraced like nothing happened. But last time I remembered, they were going through all the trouble that they did. Carol and Daryl.
Yeah, they put that aside. You know how it is. It's like they've had other issues go on, so it's like, all right, whatever. We're all thankful that we're here. And at that moment, that's when Jerry makes another announcement. He's like, oh, someone's coming, something's happening, and then you see all the soldiers showing up. And everyone's on guard. They're like, what's happening here? And our boy Eugene comes out and says, oh, no, they're friends. They're here to help. And what's his name? Oh, man, I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name, too.
Oh, Beesworth Bunt. Oh, I'm forgetting, but the representative. We'll just say that. I'm sorry, people. I can't believe it.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a big part of the comic series before this also. But he pops up and he has this nice suit on and he gives a little speech about, hey, you guys did a great job here. Look at this community. But meanwhile, it's like all rubble now because of the storm. But he was like, yeah, you guys look like you're good survivors, and I can offer two things for you. We can either offer assistance, and we can help you guys out and get you back on your feet, or we could do something else. And you see the camera pans to the group, and they're all in different situations. You got Daryl leaning against the side and stuff, and then we see Maggie, and she's up on the second level there of like a balcony, and she's overlooking. And this was one of the smoothest transitions I've seen in this show, and probably any show. I really like this transition because you see her in frame and then it just pans slowly over to the right, and then in comes 6 months later and she's still there in frame and she's in the same position, and then we see more troopers showing up, And Daryl takes off his helmet. He's one of the troopers. And she was like, well, it doesn't have to be this way. And he's like, yeah, it definitely does have to be this way. And then it ends. And that was perfect because we just got a time jump. And this is why when I was talking about, oh, maybe they'll do something in the spin-off with Negan and what he's been doing. Well, we got 6 months of him out there roaming, doing who knows what. Because, yeah, we know we haven't seen the last of Negan. Definitely haven't. So now we definitely know there's 6 months where he's out of the loop. He's not part of this community. He's doing his own thing. That's plenty of time, and that's plenty of content that they can write if he does get his own show, part of the anthology or whatever. Because I don't... Well, maybe they'll tag that along. I think that would be a little bit too much to tag a semi spin-off of Negan adventures in the final season. So I definitely think it would be its own thing. Or if they decide to get a little crazy and go back to the way they used to do things, especially I think it was with Fear, where they did those webisodes. Remember with the airplane and with the flight attendant and the plane crashing and all that stuff. Remember that? They were like these mini episodes.
Yeah, I do remember those.
Maybe they do something like that where it's exclusive, just the AMC Plus, just Negan Adventures.
But you got to think about the whole thing with Negan. He's the actor. The actor is not gonna come cheap.
Oh no.
Yeah,
he's definitely not coming cheap now. But
they're not gonna do anything other than the Walking Dead proper stuff.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's still. But if he gets his own show, how do you turn that down?
No, but it's not gonna be. You're saying like webisode stuff.
No, webisode. But webisodes is meaning AMC Plus now. I was just saying webisodes because they did that. That was just no reason why I'm saying that, because there was no AMC Plus then. So it was just they were doing it for the website. You had to go to AMC's website to see it. And now they actually have a service, so then they can try to entice people to sign up. It's like, hey, Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, all that. That's also airing on AMC on the cable channel and stuff. So there's no secret there, but. If you want to see some of these Negan episodes, this little spin-off, maybe it's only 6 episodes or whatever, a test run, then you got to sub up to AMC Plus. I don't know.
Oh, so you're saying it could be exclusive to AMC Plus?
Yes.
That's what you mean. Okay.
Yes. I was just using the webisode thing because that was a test that I felt that they tried. But they didn't have a paid service at the time. It was just trying to lure people to go to their website to just... visit the content, see everything that's there. But that right there alone, I love the fact they did the time jump, and clearly we see that Maggie decided to stay at Alexandria, but Daryl decided to fall in line and become one of the soldiers of the Commonwealth, which makes perfect sense because he's a great tracker, he's a great soldier. It makes sense.
He's a great man.
He's a great man. And, right, he's a great man. But also, he is the wild card. He's always been the wild card because he is not part of the comics. So they can do whatever they want with him. And the question, I know for people that read the comics, were like, where does he fit in the endgame? Because he's not in the endgame, obviously. So where do they fit him in? Well, there you go. Now he's a soldier. That's where they fit him in. So, different approach.
So, yeah, I think it's a very interesting concept because, obviously I think you have a good idea of what happens in the comics, and I know they're going to venture away from that, but it makes me curious what causes him to join and what his approach is going to be now that Maggie decides that she does not want to join. So, yeah, that's why when we started this show at the very top, why I agree 100% with what Carlos said. It works a lot better as a cliffhanger than what they did with the previous episode. So I do wish that this was the episode that we got before we went to a break. But now I'm even more curious to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, definitely curious because there's a lot that could happen in 6 months. That's a lot of. That's half a year. There's a lot And man, I don't want to bring up the comic, but things got real crazy, real fast. Definitely under 6 months, and new management came into play. So I'm just curious to see if that took place as well in this timeline in the show, or has that not happened? Because they can go in a completely different direction at this point. And that's fine with me. I don't need a one-for-one comparison. Let's go in another direction. I'm all cool with it. But I do have some expectations. There's some things I do want, and that is I definitely want to see Rick back at some point, even if it's just one episode. And I definitely want to see Michonne. That's it.
Man, I'm sorry. If Rick doesn't come for at least 2 episodes, I'm greedy. I say 3. I want 3. But at least 2 episodes, man, that's yo, man, he ain't doing anything right now. Come on, let's be serious.
Well, I mean, and a lot of people don't know. I mean, he was just tired of the travel. He's from England, and he was tired of going back and forth to Georgia and the whole thing, and he wanted to progress in his life, and he wanted some changes to be made. And they were like, all right, fine, and we're gonna bump you up. We're gonna start making movies, and we'll bring you into the movies. So we're going to take you off TV and make you into a premium player. But then the whole thing with COVID hit, and that got put on hold. Because if I remember right, that movie there was plans for 2 of them, they said, 2 films. And that first film should have been out already. And obviously it's not. So we'll see. And then, go ahead, Rich.
I said, at least we do know that him and Michonne will be back, because there has to be some type of family reunion with Judith.
Oh, and Rick Jr. over there too. Yeah, the son.
Yeah, so that's going to happen. But I agree with Carlos. This better not be a 1 episode situation. I want to see this at least a couple episodes of Rick.
All right,
because think about it. I got to intervene because I'll forget this point. the last episode is gonna be like it's gonna be part of the finale, like the final conclusion, along with like the epilogue kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So you can't have Rick just jump in the middle of a last fight and still get the payoff of the scenes with Judith and everyone else.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe the penultimate episode or the third to last episode where things seem grim. And they need someone, and they need other fighters, and they need other leaders. Then that's when Rick and Michonne make their comeback, and they're gonna have a thing with Judith, and Daryl is gonna cry his eyes out, and it's gonna be a love fest. But it's like, and then Rick's gonna come in like a sheriff, and he's like, I'm here to take in the prisoner back. Or something like that. Something like that's gonna happen, and it's gonna be crazy, and I'm gonna be hyped, and it's gonna be worth watching all of these damn seasons for this.
Yeah. So can I ask a quick question, and then Adam, you can continue. Mm-hmm. And this is a question for you, Adam. So, do you think it's likely that we're going to see a showdown between a returning Jadis and Rick? Because I noticed in World Beyond, they she kept making mention that she. How she elevated in her position was because she used someone else. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So do you think that that's likely how they bring him back?
Well, the Civil Republic, the whole thing is, why did she bring him? We don't know. Why did she take him? Out of what role? What was the point? Interrogating him? For what? He had nothing. He had a small community of people fighting to stay alive. It wasn't like
who's Jadis?
She was the one that was talking to the crazies, because you only watched Walking Dead proper. Remember, over at the junkyard?
Yeah.
And part of the whole helicopter, because it turns out that she knew a helicopter was coming.
Yeah, so yeah. She came to World Beyond.
Yeah, she popped up on World Beyond, and she was actually part of the Civil Republic. She now had a high rank. She had a new haircut, and she was very vocal and not talking crazy. And then she makes a joke of that too. She was like, "Oh yeah, I came up with my own language for a while, and I figured out that was a good way of controlling people." And there goes that.
Was she part of the nuke?
No. She was only part of. That's the thing. So she wasn't part of that. That's another group. So there's multiple locations. What was it? It was like 6, right? I think that's what it was. There were 6 or 9 locations, Civil Republic locations, and so they're all doing their own thing. That's how they explained it in World Beyond. So she was part of one. Then there was Rick, I guess, is part of another one, or maybe he's definitely not part of the one that was in World Beyond, because we never saw him and they never mentioned him by name. just sort of like what Rich was saying, like in passing, where she just said, "Oh, there was somebody of interest." But what was the interest? Were you trying to convert him? So if he does show up, is he going to show up as a leader in a uniform and everything? It's like, yeah, I'm the leader. So that makes no sense. Also, why would you wait so long, especially when you have your young daughter and this community out in where are they now? It's out in DC or in that area, just struggling, and you're living it up. No, that doesn't make sense. Something else is going to happen. Now I'm wondering, and I wonder if they do this, where people get upset. If we find out through flashbacks, that's how Michonne and Rick pop up, just through flashbacks within the 6 months, like a montage.
Oh yeah, I think people would be angry about that.
So it's not so much of what's going on now; it's what's happened within those 6 months. And maybe that's why Maggie's upset. It's like, oh, you have to, this is how it works. No, because when Rick came back and then this happened and then they show him there or whatever. Sort of like what they did a few seasons back where they showed this fantasy world within Alexandria where you see Negan picking fruit with Judith and doing all that stuff. Remember? It was Carl seeing all these things. Everybody was like happy-go-lucky living together. I don't know. I know that's a little stretch, and I doubt they're going to do that either. But like you said, it's just like, how do you integrate those two characters in this unless it's to stay for the long haul? If that's the case, we're not seeing them in this session. We're seeing that in the final 8 episodes.
Well, this is the last point I will say. If they have to find a way to connect this all together, because this is what Scott Gimple was talking about, right? Every show was connected, so there better be some connection with. To
link with that, he said every show and the movies.
Yeah, see, so there has to be some connection with the show, especially with this show ending. I'm expecting to see some people pop up on this show. The World Beyond cast can stay, they don't need to be on this show.
See, and that's the thing for people that didn't watch at the end.
They can stay Worlds Beyond this.
There you go.
Yeah.
They find a community. They see it in their binoculars, and they're heading to a community. It didn't look like the Commonwealth. It could be any other group. Who knows? But I don't know why. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them, at least some of them, or even the one that joined the Civil Republic, if he pops up, I could just see some of them. I don't know why. I have a feeling it just makes sense that they just carry some of them over. Or maybe we'll see some crossover with Fear. Or maybe both. This is the mothership, and it's coming to an end. So why not have some people say goodbye? Have Morgan reunite with Rick or Daryl, do that type of thing. Man, I was going to say even with Dwight, but Dwight, I mean, his face is all mangled because of Negan. So I don't think that'll ever be a happy ending. And definitely we know Sherry does not want to see Negan, or else she's going to want to kill him. That was her whole story during the break. Remember? It's like she wanted to go and kill him. After the nuke, she was like, yeah.
The nuke.
So thanks again, people. We went into it. We covered this episode. Really hoped you guys all watched it. And then it didn't sound like mumbo jumbo. We're just not spoiling for you. But it's good. So far, it's starting off strong, and that's what we wanted. And this is where we can start getting into the whole idea of like what's going to happen next. Because this is the end game. Anything can go. They can throw anything they want at us and just bring out all kinds of crazy stories. And it'll make it interesting. Now, the question is, and I'm sure listeners are also thinking about this, are we going to get a happy ending of this series? Or is it just going to be something sad like 6 Feet Under? If you guys remember that HBO one. That was very sad. I mean, almost everyone had a horrible ending on that one. So, I don't know.
I'm hoping for a lost ending, personally.
Oh, a lost ending? Like, oh, man. No.
I'm going to predict it's going to probably be a hopeful ending. But we'll see, because I don't know if that ending will have anything to do with the Daryl and Carol.
Well, that's the thing.
If by hopeful you mean they're gonna release the spinoffs in another sense, then.
Well, like hopeful as, everyone's happy-go-lucky, and some of the other people say, hey, we're going to go and fix another community. We're going to spread the knowledge of how to rebuild civilization.
Yeah. Like there'll be some optimism that they can get through this to some degree. I think, but I do think that some characters have to have a horrible ending because it's not. This is the real world, so
Oh,
you
there
have to
will be
have
more
things
deaths.
like this.
There will be more
Yeah.
deaths. For sure. There will be more deaths. Yeah. And 6 months have passed, so I'm curious to see where Ezekiel and Yuki and all of them are doing over at the Commonwealth. So,
what's her name again?
Yukimo. I called her Yuki. I'm always messing up her name. I'm horrible at it. I should have never even said it.
It's, by the way, it's not Yukimo. It's Yumiko.
Yumiko. God damn it. Oh, damn. See, I'm always screwing it up.
I'm feeling like you're doing this on purpose at this point.
Maybe I am. We'll see. All right, everybody. Thanks again, and we'll be back. Is it next week? No, it's the week after. I think it's the week after.
Well, it's next week because for AMC week? Plus.
Yeah. If they're continuing with the 1 week early, then it'll be next week. We'll be back, episode 10. Looking forward to it, people. All right, thanks again. Talk to you later. Peace.